Hello everyone and welcome to my B&B Fan Club channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Luna's throat became constricted. Liberty. The term had an ashy taste. Since the night she lost everything, her mother, her future, and the flimsy illusion of control, she had been inside for months. The evidence had been damning, but the allegations were a maze of half-truths and lies. In order to guarantee that she would rot here while he was free, Bill had been the one to pull the strings. What's the catch? Her voice was husky from lack of use as she asked. Bill had a sharp smile. A pledge. One that is bound. Body, mind, and spirit, you pledge your allegiance to me. When I say anything, you follow through on it. No inquiries. Without hesitation. And in exchange, he made a hazy gesture, as though the world beyond these walls were a present he could give. Luna leaned forward, her chains clinking. You're crazy. Am I? Her heartbeat was mimicked by the rhythm of Bill's fingers drumming the table. Luna, you are a killer. That's what the world thinks anyway. You'll perish in here without me. Broken, old, and forgotten. But with me. His eyes shone brightly. The word mine slithered into her bones. You'll be mine. As the machines beeped their final countdown, she thought of her mother, Poppy, lying in the hospital bed with a pale face. As the life left her, Luna had been there, yelling and pleading. Poison, the police said. They said that the vial had Luna's fingerprints on it. She had confessed, they said. However, the confession, it had been Bill's whispered threats as the investigators drew in, his hand on her shoulder, and his voice in her ear. I didn't kill her, Luna murmured, the words sounding hollow from repetition and reaction. Bill laughed pathetically and softly. It makes no difference what is true, just what people think. He moved one piece of paper, still wet with ink, across the table. Sign it. Make a vow. The oath, a hideous parody of a contract, was written in Bill's ragged handwriting. Or stay here and let the years eat you alive. I, Luna Noel, hereby formally pledge myself to William Spencer Jr. for eternity. I give over my will, my decisions, and my future. I can be ordered, protected, and destroyed by him. Tears pricked her eyes, blurring the words. She reflected on the intelligent, aspirational kid she had been, hoping to live a life free from the baggage of her mother's errors. Buried by the weight of this moment, that girl was no more. Like a magician presenting a trick, Bill pulled a pen out of his pocket and said, Pen. Luna accepted it with a shaking hand. Immature, paid off, or scared into silence, the guard in the corner watched. She may fight, yell, or reject. Then what? Another year spent in this cage caused her spirit to deteriorate more. She recalled the time she had sobbed herself to sleep and the way the other prisoners muttered killer as she went by. She reflected about Bill's might, his reach, and how he had destroyed her without doing anything. With a sound akin to bones shattering, the pen scratched the page. Her name was signed in wobbly but readable letters. Luna Noel, a slave, a vow, a signature. Bill took the paper and gently folded it into his jacket, his smile growing. Good girl. Hours later, the paperwork was a marvel of falsified signatures and greasy palms, and the chains came off. The world was too bright and too noisy, and Luna stumbled as she stepped out into the sunlight. Bill's hand, a brand and proprietary, was at her elbow. His sleek black automobile, a hearse for her former existence, was waiting. Where are we heading? Her voice was small as she requested. Bill used a false term when he said, home. With its icy marble, steel, and glass, the Spencer estate towered like a monument to extravagance. Silk sheets, a balcony with a view of the city, and a lock on the door that clicked shut every night made Luna's chamber feel like a golden cage. Bill had a straightforward rule. Follow it or get sent back. Every look and every command carried the weight of the oath, which hovered over her like a guillotine. Weeks stretched into days. Bill's demands became more audacious. Get his coffee. For the camera's smile. Put on the dress he picked out. Every task tightened around her throat like a link in a chain. She became adept at reading his emotions and recoiled when he raised an eyebrow. No one said anything, but the workers looked at her with contempt or sympathy. They were more aware. She stood on the balcony at night as the city lights mocked her independence. She considered running away, but where would she go? She was viewed as a monster by the world. Her mom had passed away. Her pals had deserted her. Bill had seen to that. He called her to his study one evening. The fire created demon-like shadows, and the room smelled of bourbon and leather. With a drink in hand, Bill sat behind his desk like a monarch on his throne. He said, "Sit." Luna complied, concealing her shaking hands in her lap. The oath was a living thing that throbbed in her veins. She detested him, herself, and the girl who had risked her life for a moment of sunshine. Bill swirled his glass and replied, "You've been good. Compliant. However, I require more." Her heart faltered. "What are you saying?" His eyes met hers as he leaned closer. The words, "I need you to love me," were slapped. Luna let out a weak laugh that reverberated across the space. "Love you? You have hallucinations." Bill's smile remained unwavering. "Luna, the oath. Your soul was sworn." She stood with her chair scraping the floor, saying, "Love is just another command." He said calmly, "I'm not your puppet. You are whatever I say you are." His assurance was frightening. The jail loomed in her imagination, its walls closer than the ones surrounding her now, and she said, "Refuse and you know what happens." She reflected on the moment she had broken the oath, the pen in her palm. He already had her. What else was there in her soul? She muttered, "I'll try," her words tasting like poison. With a transgression, Bill grabbed her cheek with his hand. "That's my girl." The ensuing months were a gradual disintegration. Luna learned to lean into his touch when the cameras flashed, to laugh at his jokes, and to grin when he walked into a room. She turned to become his lie, his trophy, and his shadow. The world witnessed a woman who had been redeemed and a tragic love story. They missed the time she sobbed into her pillow, the time she stared at the balcony railing and pondered the distance of the fall, and the times her hands trembled when she was by herself. Her obedience was the food source for Bill's parasitic love. With his arm around her waist and his voice bragging about her metamorphosis, he showcased her at galas. From murderer to monarch, the tabloids swarm. Luna acted the part, her lips curving, her eyes lifeless. He said mine in the dark, and she learned to disassociate, to float above her body while he caressed her. However, something within her resisted death. A deep-seated spark that was stoked by recollections of her mother's laughter and her former dreams. When the house was silent and Bill was not there, it whispered to her, "You remain here. You remain who you are." Luna discovered a letter hidden behind her door one evening after attending a party where she had grinned till her face hurt. The sentences were urgent, and the handwriting was strange. "We are aware of the reality. We are able to assist. At midnight, meet us at the old pier." Her heart pounded. A snare? Bill's examination? Or a lifeline? As she burned the letter in the fireplace, she saw the paper be consumed by the flames, just as her optimism had been consumed. However, like a sprout amid the ashes, the words persisted. Cloaked in black, her pulse pounding with defiance and fear, she walked to the dock. Like a siren's cry, the water lapped at the docks as the fog engulfed the city. A woman, older, with a grieving expression on her face, stepped out of the darkness. The woman's voice wavered as she replied, "You're Luna." Luna froze and said, "I'm sorry about your mother." "Who are you?" "Someone with a connection to Poppy." A flash drive was shoved into Luna's hand by the woman, who claimed to know what Bill had done. Provenance. The actual toxin. The actual admission. Luna's thoughts reeling, her fingers curled around the drive. "It's all here. Why assist me?" Her eyes were sad. "Because he took everything from me too. Make use of it. Put an end to him." Luna went back to the estate with a secret scorching against her flesh, the drive concealed in her bra. Playing the submissive doll, she waited and bided her time. Her acquiescence caused Bill to become reckless. One night he left his laptop open and his workplace unlocked, his conceit a gift. For the first time in months, her hands were steady as she copied the data. Proof of Bill's planning, his framing of her, and his murder of her mother to keep a secret Poppy had threatened to reveal can be found in emails, recordings, and bank transfers. As she worked, Luna secretly shed tears, each keystroke a reclamation. She anonymously forwarded the evidence to journalists, the government, and anybody else who would listen. Then she waited, the truth a blade in her palm, the oath a noose around her neck. The consequences were immediate. When the news surfaced that the media mogul had murdered her mother and framed an innocent woman, Bill's empire fell apart. His cries reverberated throughout the estate as the police took him away when they arrived for him at morning. As the sunrise painted the sky in gold and blood, Luna observed from her balcony. Freedom returned, this time in a tangible form. Her mother's memory was validated, the charges were withdrawn, and her name was cleansed. The triumph was meaningless, though. The oath still weighed on Luna like a stain as she stood in the deserted estate, the silence deafening. She departed from Los Angeles, the metropolis that had ingested and expelled her. She attempted to outrun the girl who had signed her soul away, changed her name and chopped off her hair. However, she heard Bill's speech and saw his gaze in the silence of unfamiliar surroundings and strangers' faces. Mine. Years later, Luna sat in a little seaside village at a window, her sorrow reflected in the waves. She was not complete, but she was free. Although the oath had been a falsehood and the truth had broken the chain, its echoes could still be heard in her wounds. She penned letters to her mother, to the girl she had been, and to the woman she may become, but she never sent them. On certain evenings she had dreams of the pen in her hand, the fluorescent lights and the prison. She awoke with a gasp, the word mine a ghost on her lips, and the taste of ash in her mouth. She had freedom, but she also carried the burden of survival. Once a prisoner, then a puppet, and now a vagrant, Luna Noel carried her sorrow like a stone that had been worn smooth over time but never light. She listened as the water whispered her name, hoping that one day the spark within her might be strong enough to illuminate the night. Particularly with those closest to him, Bill had never been known for his patience. His eyes were blazing with intent and his jaw was set like steel the moment he entered the bleak county jail. On the opposite side of the thick glass, Luna sat with her shoulders hunched over and her face devoid of its natural brightness. She appeared smaller, shrunken, as if she had been crushed by the walls surrounding her. Nevertheless, something sparked in her eyes when she saw him, possibly fear, maybe hope, or perhaps both. He took a while to sit. He simply stood there, speaking in a steady, low voice that was hard to miss. "Luna, I'm getting you out of here." Her hands, which were firmly clutched together on the metal table, trembled as she said, "But before I do, I need you to swear something to me." Luna Carter was not accustomed to such a tough environment. She was neither a seasoned crook nor someone who had ever considered going to prison. Accusations, bewilderment, tears, and then the icy clank of handcuffs had all happened so quickly. She took a deep breath to regain her composure. "What are you saying? What sort of assurance?" she said, hardly raising her voice above a whisper. At last, Bill took a seat, bending forward to make direct eye contact. "You must pledge to me that you will tell me everything going forward. No more secrets. Stop telling half-truths. Stop allowing others to drag you into potentially life-destroying circumstances. For you, Luna, I am risking everything I have. My power, my time, and my resources." The word struck her like a wave. "I need to know that you won't let me fight blind again." He wasn't upset, at least not in the manner she had anticipated. He was afraid. "I'm afraid for her. I fear losing her." Afraid that he hadn't been there to defend her, and that something more serious had been going on behind his back. After attempting to contain her emotions for hours, Luna blinked them away. "I didn't intend for any of this to occur, Bill." As the situation's weight tightened around her chest, she said, "I didn't know it would get so out of control." Across the table, Bill extended a single hard, grounding hand that was close enough to her to sense his weight but not quite touching. "You'll swear it, tell me. Say it aloud. Now." Her breath caught. On a deeper level than legislation, the oath felt final and weighty. She inhaled. "Promise. No more secrets. I will reveal all to you. Everything." She maintained eye contact. "I swear." His shoulders became less tense, but not by much. He gave a single firm nod. "All right. Since I've already prepared the necessary paperwork to release you. Although it's not official yet, I've pressed judges, asked for favors, and taken risks that most people wouldn't. But realize there's no turning back once I pluck those cords." With her fingers easing a little, Luna let out a shaky breath. "You'll be in my world with my rules, because you'll be under my protection." For a brief moment, Bill's demeanor softened. Anything is better than this. It was enough for her, but not enough for anybody else to notice. He continued softly, bending closer so she could hear what he said. It's not just about getting you out. The goal is to ensure that this doesn't occur again. Luna swallowed hard, saying, I won't watch your life fall apart because of someone else's lies. She kept thinking about everything that had brought her here, including the party's turmoil, her mistakes, and the accusations, particularly from people who had professed to care for her. Sitting in that chilly, reverberating cell, she experienced loneliness for the first time. Now that she was seated across from Bill, she understood what protection could also look like: genuine, unyielding, and sharp-edged. Time was indicated by a guard who moved forward. Bill, however, did not move. Bill Spencer was not the kind of man who was hurried, so the guard paused. Bill added, I'll be back in an hour, in a cool, businesslike voice. You'll be processed out when I return. After that, we head directly to my place. No pauses. Avoid taking any detours. Got it? Luna gave a nod. Yes. However, as he got up to go, Luna's quiet but urgent voice reached him. Why, Bill? Why are you helping me with all of this? Before turning back to her, he hesitated, his hands clasped behind his back straight, and his eyes fixed on something else. Because family has become important to me. More than it was before. And you're involved in that whether you realize it or not. I don't give up on mine. Her throat constricted once more, but the tears that came out were different this time, warmer, more resolute. Luna sat motionless and breathed deeply as Bill departed, attempting to get ready for the impending change. It was more than just getting out of jail. With all the burden that came with it, this was about embarking on a new kind of life, one that was protected by Bill. And deep down she understood the implications for her relationships with her mother, her friends, and most importantly, RJ. There would be repercussions for the decisions she made going forward, and she couldn't just wish them away. She was prepared when Bill came back. As the last documents were signed, she stood erect next to him. The guards who had before treated her roughly now took a cautious step back, understanding the man escorting her and the potential consequences. The air from outside hit her like a reminder of life when the doors opened, as though attempting to recover every aspect of herself that had been taken away in that frigid chamber. She took a deep breath. Bill opened the car door for her with the solemnity of duty rather than the tenderness of romance. She noticed him give her an inscrutable look as she slid inside. It was a quiet drive. It's not awkward, just a lot of thinking. Outside her window, Luna observed the city, each structure and street appearing more distinct than she had remembered. She has no intention of returning to her former self. The same thing that had changed in Bill had changed in her. Luna felt the truth of her new life sink in when they eventually arrived into his house's driveway, which was spacious, secure, and encircled by walls. Yes, this was safety. However, it also came with responsibilities. Anticipation. She couldn't violate the commitment. Bill spoke softly as he led her inside. We'll take care of everything else. The charges. The consequences. Those who are attempting to bring you down. However, you are no longer alone. Luna looked up at him and said, Not anymore. Her tone was stern but calm. Bill, I meant what I swore. You will discover the truth. Everything. He gave a single affirmative nod. All right. After that, we'll proceed. No headline was present. No cheers. No frenzied tirade. Two people who had been pushed to the brink and decided not to fall made a promise. And that oath would shape everything that followed.